Messi to PSG, Ronaldo back to Manchester United, Romelu Lukaku's return to Chelsea, among other huge transfer moves that have happened this summer. I can't quite remember a more action-packed transfer in the last decade, and there's more to come within the next 2 hours to go until the transfer window closes, and we've got you covered here on the Joy Transfer Countdown Show. My name is Oriku Wampo. For in the next 2 hours, we'll help you track the final deals all across the world as football comes to a standstill. Fans would be hoping that their club will be making the final push for that all-important player that makes the difference between winning the title and missing out agonizingly, between the survival and then relegation. Would also bring you up to speed on deals involving Ghanaian players and moves in the Ghana Premier League. Join us on Twitter with the hashtag #JoyDeadlineDay. George?
George, you have to unmute.
But of course, certainly there's so much to come tonight as we try to put this together. I'm coming to you from the countryside. Gary will tell you where he is, inside the United Kingdom, of course. But it's a transfer window where we have seen huge money being rejected. Kylian Mbappe somehow is still going to stay at Paris Saint-Germain. It's a transfer window where we have seen a club spending so much, yet really not so much down there. We'll talk about Arsenal. It's been another one where we've seen Chelsea try so hard to get through it. A dramatic transfer window where arguably the best players in the world have moved, but they're not moved for the biggest prizes. And tonight we'll talk about it. Obviously, we'll give you an opportunity to tell us what you've made of your clubs, no matter how it's all gone. Gary.
The transfer window has closed already in Germany, 6 p.m. That is Ghana time in Germany. And at local time, that was around 5 p.m. In the UK here, it's at 11 p.m. And also in Spain, it's at 12 a.m. Reminder, as Oriku Ampofo said, you can get us on Twitter at JoySportsGH. And our hashtag, as ever, is JoyDeadlineDay. I'm Gary Al Smith. I'm doing this with George Addo Jr., both of us based in London today. Oriku Ampofo is in Kokomlemle, in our studios. Oriku, over to you.
Well, that's just an introduction, and that's just a piece of what to expect in the next couple hours also. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, it's time to remind you of the biggest transfers that have taken place in the last 2 months. Welcome back from that break. You're still live here on the Transfer Countdown Show put together by the JoySports team. Remember, it's just about 43 minutes till the end of the transfer window. Are you satisfied with your team's signing so far? Share with us via the hashtag on Twitter, JoyDeadlineDay, or you can tag the JoySports handle at JoySportsGH and let us know how you rate your team's transfer window so far. Has it been super good, or you still think your team needs work to do in the last 40 minutes? Well, it had been a COVID hit season in which teams had to maneuver their way financially, but surprisingly, teams have rather found a creative way to be able to finalize transfers, and we've seen some incredible deals in the past 2 months. Here are the top 10 transfers put together by the JoySports team.
Until last year, it seemed implausible that the world's greatest ever player would leave the club with whom he has spent his entire career. However, with FC Barcelona's finances in shambles, PSG became the de facto destination for Lionel Messi after his contract expired, mainly because the Ligue A side was the only club who could afford his wages. The pool of former teammate Neymar also made the Parisian outfit an attractive option for the Argentine, while he was also keen to work under compatriot Mauricio Pochettino. In the French capital, Messi will now head arguably the most devastating front three in football history with Neymar and Mbappe. Messi is not the only football star who has made a move. His chief rival, Cristiano Ronaldo, has returned to Manchester United after getting frustrated with life at Juventus. Ronaldo scored 118 goals in 292 games during his first spell with United between 2003 and 2009. United's rivals Manchester City were offered the chance to sign the 36-year-old striker and considered making a move, but the former Premier League champions pulled out of the negotiations. And it took Romelu Lukaku just 50 minutes on his second Chelsea debut to show why the club paid a record fee to re-sign him a decade after he first joined. Though his goal against Arsenal was a simple finish, his performance was domineering. He bullied Ghana's defender Pablo Mari so much that the former England defender Rio Ferdinand described it as like a sixth former playing against first years. It was an ominous sign of things to come from the big man from Belgium. Romelu Lukaku's former club, Manchester United, 50 million euros for French defender Raphael Varane. Arsenal's pursuit of Ben White caused puzzlement among some supporters. For a side with the third best defensive record in the Premier League last season, wouldn't £50 million be better spent elsewhere? But for Mikel Arteta, like many coaches in the modern game, a central defender's remit is not simply to keep the ball out of his own net, it is to move it upfield as accurately and effectively as possible. Aside from Lionel, Europe's top 5 leagues produced more assists than Jadon Sancho over the last 3 seasons. With speed, balance and footwork in abundance, Sancho will undoubtedly be causing all sorts of trouble for Premier League defenders this year. The world's best attacking right back by some margin, Achraf Hakimi, is already thriving at PSG, and it looks like he's developing a brilliant partnership with Kylian Mbappe, who recently referred to him as his brother in an Instagram post. And at $139 million, Jack Grealish became the most expensive English player of all time when he signed for Manchester City this summer. One of the Premier League's brightest stars over the last 2 seasons, the 25-year-old will now showcase his skills among the best players in the league, which will undoubtedly only see his own game go from strength to strength. Sergio Ramos is perhaps the most essential of the bunch for Ligue A side PSG. For all his goal-scoring prowess, his defense, especially last season after the departure of Thiago Silva, has been a huge weak point. One of the stars of Euro 2020, Gianluigi Donnarumma, didn't concede a single goal to help Italy cruise out of the group stages. He then made vital saves in penalty shootouts in both the semi-final and final as Roberto Mancini's side were crowned champions. With his contract at boyhood club Milan ending in June, PSG acted quickest to tie down the 22-year-old to a 5-year contract.
TikTok, TikTok, TikTok. As you can see, the time is ticking down to the top of the hour and is left with just about 37 minutes till the team that you see would be permanent, at least till January for whichever team that you do support. So you can quickly head to Twitter and tweet with the hashtag #JoyDeadlineDay on what you think your team's transfer window has been. You can rate it from 1 to 10 and we'll be reading some of your tweets much later on the show. But let's still zero in on some transfers that could possibly happen. We've just seen the ones that have been completed, but we always know that the last few minutes of a deadline day comes with so much drama. And it's now time to head to George Addo Jr. as he talks us through some of the deals to expect by the time the window shuts in just over 30 minutes.
You made an interesting point, and you said because of COVID, we didn't know how this will go. But I think that really there's been a massive show that would make a lot of us not have any sympathy for some of the clubs. Real Madrid will send 189 million euros to Paris Saint-Germain, and they would reject it, knowing that the player will go for free, Kylian Mbappe. That's a deal that perhaps is falling through. Nothing is going to happen with that. It looks like Kylian Mbappe is going to be staying at Paris Saint-Germain. But how we could be tossing 189 million, euro left, right, centre, and allowing a player to go free is another question that we probably have to try and answer. Chelsea fans will be a bit on the edge right now because in principle, sounding is supposed to be joining Chelsea on loan with an option to buy, permanently. But Chelsea are running late now with about 33 minutes at the end of the transfer window. And you know how it can be because of Brexit. There are few complications when you are getting players outside the zone. So hopefully Chelsea can get the move done in with. I will tell you as well, with what we're expecting, Arsenal fans are not too sure what to expect from Tomiyasu. But, well, it looks like that deal will certainly be going through as they try to get the few paperwork that they need to get through with it. I love to talk about the news coming in for Crystal Palace. Yes, Patrick Vieira, we love that. But because Jordan Ayew is there, we're interested in all of that. And they've got in another signing, 7th. There's a striker from Celtic who has just joined. And as you know, all these little stories that we're keeping together can move to left, right, center, depending on what happens in the final 30 minutes. We also know that Antoine Griezmann could make a shocked, deadline move back to Atletico Madrid from Barcelona. That's another one we're keeping our tabs on. And yes, we know anything is possible. Sergio Reyes at the moment has activated, mutual termination talks now with Tottenham Hotspur. What will be his next step? We keep all these deals in here as we look out for what might happen right at the end of it. And obviously, if you don't get in your paperwork, and we've had some crazy times, including that, the Gea move that didn't allow him to roll over because the phone call wasn't picked up and all. It is still possible that players can move. It is still possible that deals will not go through, but at least we know we're here to give you all the information that you need. And I'm sure this will perhaps lead us to a bit of a discussion on this Kylian Mbappe, Paris Saint-Germain, Real Madrid, show of political power. Look, Gary, let me bring you inside. What is really going on here? 189 million euros for a player who is going to go for free at Paris Saint-Germain next year. And Paris Saint-Germain don't care at all.
Well, the interesting thing is, the reportage here is that it can only be PSG who will do this. To make it look even more incredulous, George, 189 million pounds does not really do justice with. Let's convert it to euros. And then you get 220 million euros that PSG are bluffing at. And why are they bluffing at it? Because in the words of Leonardo, they've had a perfect transfer window and they want absolutely nobody to let that window they have come to naught. They want it to be perfect. They want to look back at it because they've got Sergio Ramos, they've got Leo Messi, they have been able to keep Kylian Mbappe, and so they don't want anybody to spoil their party. To the extent that they want Kylian Mbappe to go for free, and as we all know, and as we've been told many, many times, by January 1, Real Madrid would definitely have signed a pre-contract agreement with the youngster, who, it must be said, has been extremely professional in his conduct. He was at the French national team base today. There were a lot of photographers, videographers, whatnot, journalists looking at his body language, and everybody reports that he was a model professional. And he has said himself that he's going to sell. He has not said directly, but he has told people who are close to him that he's going to be a pro. He's going to be the best he can be, so that when he goes to Real Madrid, it can be said that he was a professional. He's not going to throw his toys out of the pram. A lot of pro Real Madrid media were expecting him to put in a transfer request, misbehave, and all that thing. Now Kylian Mbappe is more mature than that. So that's exactly what we are going to see. And the other thing I'd add, maybe cheekily, is it's PSG. They own half of London. They own Harrods. They own some of the biggest properties across Europe and in the Gulf. We are PSG and we can do what we want. That's the message.
And later on, we'll be finding out how Lionel Messi is going to be fitting inside that, because Paris Saint-Germain definitely have the sights on that. But I'm sure it's just about time now to begin our Messi discussion and just look at how things have gone. I love it when big players move from one club to another. It's great. But for most of our fans or fans around the world, we often lose sight of why, for instance, Manchester United will want Ronaldo back, aside just the action on the pitch. There's so much when it comes to stock markets and the cash that is coming in for them. And the prestige and everything that they've got. Lionel Messi going to Paris Saint-Germain will certainly have done a lot on this one. Maybe we can take it from you. You're a former Barcelona fan. Messi cried on the day. He didn't even believe it. I don't know how you took that.
Former what?
Former Barcelona fan. Former Barcelona fan.
That's not something. That's not something you hear.
Messi didn't believe it. I don't know what you make of that, Reku. Yeah.
Not very often do you hear a former Barcelona fan. But I have to commend Gary himself. He supported Arsenal for God knows how long, and me small adversity at Barcelona, I couldn't tolerate it, and I left. So yeah, shout out to you, Gary. But then the Messi deal, if you've ever supported Barcelona or you've had a soft spot for Barcelona, it's almost as if the new generation equate Messi to Barcelona. And Samuel Eto'o and even Michael Essien did pass comment on how they do not believe the deal could be struck between Messi and PSG, because to them, Messi represents Barcelona. And that's the view of, I think, quite a huge number of Barcelona fans. So it's one that did come with huge surprise. And I remember on the night when the deal was happening, I told someone who was close to me that, look, I feel that this is just a whole PR move to be able to, trick Tebas into lowering down on the whole power play in terms of the wage cuts that teams had to meet and all that. So personally, I felt it was a bit of a political play. But as time wore on, FC Barcelona dropped a farewell video, and then you could see players started to pour in with their farewell messages and all that. Then it started to hit me that, whoa, this could be real, and Lionel Messi could actually leave Barcelona. So it was a time of shock, and this is even from someone who's not a Barcelona fan anymore. So I can just imagine what people who support Barcelona felt at the moment. And if you're at home and you want to describe how you felt at that point, you can tweet at us with the hashtag #JoyDeadlineDay. Share with us, Barcelona fans, how you felt at the point that you found out that Messi was leaving Barcelona. But Gary, let me come to you. Messi to Paris Saint-Germain. Is this something that perhaps you saw coming, or you thought he would join Pep Guardiola?
I thought it was more likely that he was going to join Pep Guardiola. PSG was not something that I thought was possible at all, I have to say. And it took me by surprise, as it probably did many other people. And having heard all the backstories, it seemed like they were the only, viable option. It seemed like they were the only viable option, much like, as we have come to understand and been informed, Manchester United, despite all the rhetoric about the romance and everything, seemed to be the only viable option for Cristiano Ronaldo, who we are told wanted Manchester City as a first option because he saw them as a bigger opportunity to win trophies, to win things, than his own beloved Manchester United. And so, yeah, that's my reckoning. Leo, the situation was, he said in his interview, remember, he said things turned very, very quickly. As of the Tuesday and Wednesday before the Thursday when everything started going, he thought that he was going to stay. He had agreed everything. And then he was told that, based on the regulations, La Liga, whatnot, it was not possible that it was going to happen. So that is how quickly things turned. And yes, it's at the end of an era, but look, I am looking at least, while Kylian Mbappe is around and acting professionally, Neymar is there, Messi is there, I am going to savor every single PSG match, whether in Ligue 1, whether in the French Cup, or whether in the Champions League. I'm going to savor watching Eminem.
There would definitely be a good look, and hopefully that translates into the field of play. But let me come to you, George, on Messi to Paris Saint-Germain. You stated earlier that some of these deals, it goes beyond what we see on the pitch. We've seen that on his debut, there's been records shattered in terms of the viewership for Liga. But how much of a blow do you think is to Messi that unfortunately when he joined, Liga moved from the top 5 leagues in the world, overtaken by the Portuguese league, to the 6th position? Do you think that affects the deal in any way?
You see, when it comes to Messi and Ronaldo discussions, the guys don't have any more to prove. They are the best 2 players we've had. So they are very, very relaxed. And that's why when they are making the moves, they just make sure they're in a place where they can win again. They are more about winning. They don't care about the money per se. They're not too worried about the place. I think for Messi, he says, well, I've moved to Paris Saint-Germain. I have the chance to win the Champions League. I have the chance to win more trophies. I have the chance for my career to feel something different from, the Spanish league. And I've got a chance to make the name. I don't need to prove to you again that I'm Lionel Messi.
So yeah, that was George and then Gary joining us from the UK. And we're talking about Messi and then Cristiano Ronaldo and the impact that they've had on, their respective teams. And I think, George, you were making a point before you were cut out just briefly.
Yeah, I was just saying that for Lionel Messi, the true moment, the proper moment for him was that he won the Copa America. That has moved him to a proper place. When you're talking about, the big guys or the legends of Argentina, he's happy with that. Okay. Any other thing from here, remember it bonus. And Cristiano Ronaldo has got the Euros in his pocket as well. If they can win a World Cup, they are happy. But if they don't win any more, they are fine. But these guys are winners and they love to play. So I don't think Messi will be too worried. Yes, I don't think
there is an angle that we should look at the PSG that I only managed to glean while watching French television today.
Yeah.
In the English-speaking world, I've not heard anybody say, but guess what? Apart from it being the fact that Messi is available, who wants to take him? And PSG were first to it. There's also a small vanity project, but not just a vanity project, but something in the future. PSG's owners, the Qataris, are closely linked, or heck, they are the guys hosting the 2022 World Cup.
Of course, yeah.
They would parade Cristiano and Messi. They would do everything in their power to milk these two guys, particularly Messi, Mbappe, and Neymar, ahead of that World Cup. To the extent that what we are hearing is that even if Kylian Mbappe goes to Real Madrid in January or whenever, they are going to give him so much impetus to be part of them. And that's why actually he's not misbehaving. Because what they have told him is going to be his contribution to that World Cup in terms of endorsement, in terms of being part of it. It is in his best interest to be a good boy.
That's right.
So apart from everything, the footballing reasons, look, Messi is going to have a payday. Neymar is going to have a payday ahead of next year. That is going to shock it's going to make them so much money. And hey, Charlie, it's a good time to be a PSG big boy.
Certainly it's a good time. But George, I just want to put you on the spot, just a quick one. Without the benefit of hindsight, between Messi and Ronaldo, both have made arguably difficult moves that they have to settle. Ronaldo has to resettle. Who do you see, achieving success quickly in terms of trophies and, achievements on the pitch?
Well, I have to say it's going to be Lionel Messi. Lionel Messi will do it with the team, Paris Saint-Germain. He relax their nerves and they can, move a step closer to what they're trying to win. Winning stuff in France will be very, very easy. For Cristiano Ronaldo, he may push on individually. He may get some more accolades individually, but the Manchester United team know that they are not quite there. And the game against Wolverhampton Wanderers set a very good lesson. They still need good men in the midfield to try and sort things out. So on that score, I think Lionel Messi is likely to win more with the team and do his individual things. Ronaldo is more going to be, the individual. I'm just looking at it right now. It doesn't look like Manchester United are close to any central defensive midfielder, so they're up against it.
And Gary, are you on the same page with George?
Because Gary's a Ronaldo fan.
Does that mean you're ghosting from the question? I think we can...
Look, seriously though, I think it's far more likely for me that Messi is going to win at least the French League Cup. At the very least. The League Cup, the French Cup.
The Liga, French Cup.
He's going to win that at the very least. The French League One, definitely, he's going to win it by some maybe 15 or 20 points, before the season is done. So, yeah, those two nominally are going to be in the basket. The Champions League, of course, is the holy grail. I'm sure every football fan knows that. But as to Cristiano, Charlie, go ahead. Go hard.
Well, a lot will depend on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, but we've just spoken about the impact of these two players. It's now time to look at what they contribute off the pitch, and that has to do with their financial details. And there's a report by Nathaniel Wato looking at what exactly Ronaldo and Messi would contribute to their respective teams after signing.
Hi guys, I was just catching up on some figures and good conversations so far. I always like to throw the focus on the figures, right? And so we're going to start off with Cristiano Ronaldo, which was the biggest in the last week and a half. Now, let's throw back to, some years ago when he was a young boy, he was a teenager playing his football for Sporting CP back in Portugal. Now, he was sold to Manchester United for 19 million euro. You remember that, right? Okay, so he comes into Manchester United, wins the league titles, wins the UEFA Champions League titles, and, scores a whole stack of goals. And then after that, the time came for him to move on from Manchester United. And of course, the man, Sir Alex Ferguson, describes him as one of the greatest players that he's ever handled. And that is in chapter 8 of his biography, which is titled, Sir Alex Ferguson, and then chapter 8 is titled Ronaldo, okay? So, time for Ronaldo to move on from Manchester United to Real Madrid, and that was in excess of 90 million euro. Now, this meant that over the period, there was value addition of over 75 million euro. 75 million euro, okay? Put all of that aside. He goes into Real Madrid, does what he has to do, scores the goals, and establishes his strength on the Los Blancos. Now, when time came for him to switch to the Italian Serie A, to Juventus, at the time, it became the biggest transfer in history. He set a record, and that was in excess of 100 million euro. Well, after all of that, and not getting the opportunity of winning the Champions League, I'm very sure that he's looking for more Champions League success and more. Okay, so he wants to make a return to his club. I mean, everything's been finalized. He is finally in the camp of Manchester United. But guess what? A fee of just around 28 million euro, and you ask yourself, why? Well, sometimes it's about the peace of mind. It's also about relationships and the big voice of Sir Alex Ferguson. You can't joke with him. So it's sealed, it's done. Not much of a major figure, isn't it? Because, when you look at the full bill of Manchester United in terms of their transfers, it was in excess of 200 million euro. But Cristiano Ronaldo accounted for just, 28 million euro. Okay, let's put that aside. But guess what? After all of that and all the modesty on the transfer figure, let's take a look at the weekly salary. And that's the most important thing. Cristiano Ronaldo is coming back very, very comfortably. He's going to live very comfortable because he's going to earn £510,000 a week. £510,000 a week. And that makes me want to just, try to calculate how much that will be in Ghana cedis. So £510,000, okay. There we go. 4,238,172.89 pesos. That is the figure. So Cristiano Ronaldo, if he were in Ghana or he lived in Ghana, would have counted 4 million Ghana cedis every week. That's a lot of cash. Okay, so let's throw the focus on Lionel Messi. The transfer was greeted with a great deal of excitement. The final move from Barcelona, the club where he had lived virtually all of his life. Now, the last time that anything transfer figures were discussed between Lionel Messi and his club Barcelona, it was in excess of $650 million US. $650 million US. Of course, as time went on, Barcelona, who are already saddled with an over $1 billion, dollar debt when it comes to their club and its finances, was unable to meet Messi's wage bills. So because of that, plus a few other things and the fact that Messi wanted a few challenges, he had to move away from Barcelona. That well understood. So no transfer fee in this matter, but we need to be interested very much in that yearly wage. And of course, it's 41 million US dollars, for every year for Lionel Messi playing at Paris Saint-Germain. Well, you want to do the calculations again, 41 million US dollars into cedis, and then you divide it by 12 to see how much he earns, a month, and then you divide it by 4. Enough of the math, guys. These are a lot of figures, but the most important thing that I want to touch on here as well, which many have not noticed, is that good old Michael Jordan, the NBA legend, is enjoying football money. Guess what? He's made $5 million already after this Messi move. And why is it? It's because his company manufactures the kits for Paris Saint-Germain. So if he has to make $5 million every other 2 weeks, then you can imagine how all of that is going to go. Also, let's not forget that Lionel Messi has 245 million followers on Instagram. Yes, 245 million. And that is also going to have a very big effect on television revenue and, the want for television rights around the French League. So it's a win-win situation when it comes to the money for Lionel Messi and his whole lot. I mean, his image rights, everything are just going to grow exponentially. And so financially is a very good one. But of course, you don't want to have any debt situations where, the figures will start suppressing will start suppressing the finances of the respective clubs. So, well, it's good business. There's a lot of interest, and I'm looking forward to seeing the results on the pitch as well. Guys, enough of the figures. Let's go back to the transfer talk.
Well, thank you very much, Nathaniel Atida, with a comprehensive breakdown on the financial impact that Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo would have on Paris Saint-Germain and Manchester United, respectively. Now it's just left about 13 minutes more, and that's tick-tock. Time certainly is taken for teams to submit in their paperwork, but there are some deals coming in, George, and if you could just fill us in on what the latest is.
Chalobah has got a very good time at Chelsea. He's definitely part of the squad now. I'm looking at him to, if they have a Chalobah though, Fulham closing in on the deal with Nathaniel Chalobah from Watford. That's one to look out for. That's good news for Arsenal fans right now, because the problem at Arsenal is, can you ship out the players who are making it difficult and see if you can make way? The problem has been they've always added on without shipping out. So what have you got here? Arsenal have confirmed that Hector Bellerin has joined Real Betis on loan until the end of the season. That's even not a complete shipping out if you look at it from that angle. Now, a few things I have to confirm right now, deals that we're looking out for to be concluded in the next 12 minutes, and they're quite important. We still don't have a final word on what's happening between Saul Niguez and Chelsea. It is clear that there's going to be a loan deal. A loan deal is on the table with an option to sign permanently for Chelsea, but the paperwork is still ongoing. Barcelona to Atletico Madrid for Antoine Griezmann. It's also on the paper. We're still not yet very sure what's happening. Now it's very clear at the moment that there's no chance for Real Madrid to go in again, because Mbappe is definitely staying at Paris Saint-Germain in one of those deals we were talking about. And I was just checking right now, what has come through. Adama Traore, I don't know much about his performance when he played against Manchester United at the weekend, but Adama Traore is staying at Wolves. That's clearly what we've got, and the contract is on the table. Sergio Aurier of Tottenham Hotspur still in that deep discussion there, because if he wants to leave the club, then the club will need to accept that mutual termination idea or proposal that he's put out there. So these are the few things coming in right now as we build up to the end of the Gary Al-Smith. You've got a few there as well. What have you noted?
Well, let's remind viewers that in England, 15 minutes to go, so that's 12 minutes to go now. The Scottish and French windows are still open for another hour. La Liga will shut shop at 11 p.m. UK time. That's 10 p.m. Ghana time. Will Saul's loan move get done in time? Probably. Now, for those wondering about what's happening in Spurs, they've had a pretty decent window if you consider Harry Kane has not left, but Serge Aurier was the big thing. It seems the right back is on his way out of Spurs. It may not be tonight, but he's in talks to cancel his contract, which would free him up to find a new club outside the window. There are also reports that Wolves have abandoned late moves for Kiefer Moore and midfielder Boubacar Kamara, who is set to stay at Marseille, and amid further interest from Newcastle. Salomon Rondon reuniting with Rafa is also big news, but apart from that, it's quite quiet in the Premier League. Also, getting traction on social media is the big question. I don't know whether it's a big question for some. is Cristiano Ronaldo going to get the number 7 jersey at Manchester United? We know what the rules state in the Premier League, that Manchester United need to give the Premier League a special reason, give them a special dispensation for him to get the number 7 jersey because all the registration has been done. Well, what kind of reason will they give for him to maintain the CR7 brand? But remember, Ronaldo has form for taking his prized, his well-wanted number 7 jersey from others when he goes to a club. Juan Cuadrado handed his number 7 jersey shirt to Ronaldo at Juve, okay? And a bit of history. Now, remember, Roberto Baggio joined in 1998 and wanted the number 10 shirt. So Ronaldo moved to number 9 and Ivan Zamorano had to switch to number 18. So these things are not new. Yeah. Some things can happen. And Manchester United, depending on the power that and the pressure that Ronaldo's people exert on Manchester United, could write an extraordinary letter detailing some bizarre reason or other why he needs to have his prize number 7 jersey.
Well, doesn't it explain why many of you think that because Daniel James, so the number 21, has moved out, Cavani, go for your number 21 and allow the 7 to go to Cristiano Ronaldo. Let's see how it goes. But Gary, you made the point again about Everton. They're very close, yes, to signing Salman Rondon. That deal looks like it's going to happen. Not sure if it has happened really before the 10 minutes is over. And I was making the point about Patrick Vieira having made his 7th summer signing by landing Celtic striker, Osson Odor. That is another important one. And their deal still rolling on the yes in other places. But of course, once we're done, at the end of it, we'll bring you a very good update on what's been happening out there. Cristiano Ronaldo will want his 7. And I can tell you, Gary, at the moment, lots of people are lining up for that ticket, Newcastle. Manchester United.
Yeah, quick one. An update from La Liga. As we have said in the introduction, it looks like Antoine Griezmann is leaving Barcelona and going back to Atleti on loan with a 40 million euro option to buy. Barca, meanwhile, are working to bring in Sevilla's Luke de Jong to partner Martin Braithwaite up front. Interesting times.
That's a really interesting one, Gary, because if you look at the reason why Barcelona are possibly so broke now is because under Bartomeu, especially for this Griezmann deal, they had to take a loan of about 36 million to be able to, top up the money that they had to buy Griezmann. And to think of the fact that 2 years later, you are selling him for 3 times the amount less that you did purchase him for. And it's not even a given, especially because Atletico Madrid could choose not to trigger it. And it just shows how poorly managed the team has been in the previous years.
Yeah, and it's not just that. I mean, what's the name of this player who is just gone to Spurs? Emerson Royale. Yeah. Emerson Royale was shown to the Barca public, the Culers, only on the 2nd of August. And it was said by the president of Barcelona that there was a 300 million euro buyout clause on his head. And today, the 31st of August, we understand that he has moved to Spurs for a 10th of that amount. Shows you. But still speaking about Barcelona and how poorly run they have been, file this one under intriguing, Oriku and George and all the viewers. Barcelona winger Alex Collado has joined Sheffield United on loan. Sheffield United.
Wow.
On which planet will Sheffield United even dream of doing business with Barcelona?
Someone is working hard.
Yeah. But that's where we are. And also, Arsenal keeper Alex Runarsson has been loaned to Leuven in Belgium. And remember, Leuven is the club where Kamal Soa used to play before he's gone to Belgium, before he's gone to Club Brugge, also in Belgium as well. So it looks like his Emirates career, that's Alex Runarsson, his career at Emirates looks set to be defined by, that calamitous display against Manchester City in the Carabao Cup.
Yeah, we've got a few confirmations right now. Rick, let me just take you through that. We're 5 minutes to the end of this. And of course, Fabrizio Romano is in the thick of things. This is definitely his time, isn't it? So then we've got official confirmation now that Sergio is departing and leaving Tottenham Hotspur. There's been an official announcement by Tottenham Hotspur. It's official and it's confirmed that Takehiro Tomiyasu has joined Arsenal on a permanent move from Bologna for 18 million euro. Paperwork have been signed and deal completed. That is over the line. I should tell you as well, the man we're talking about, Otson Edward, from Celtic to Crystal Palace. That has also been confirmed right there. We also told you about the Hector Bellerin move. It has been confirmed. Real Betis from Arsenal, salary issue definitely resolved. There is official statements from both clubs. That's important. And now we know that Saul Niguez is still close. Saul Niguez is still close, not over the line yet. Antoine Griezmann back to Atletico Madrid is now completed. Antoine Griezmann has left Barcelona and he's now with Atletico Madrid. That is it. So we've seen a lot of comebacks, right? Yeah. And it's loan until June 2022. That is one that's coming in, the official one in there. Now, remember that as the discussion of Antoine Griezmann from Barcelona to Atletico Madrid was ongoing, there was a little hint that perhaps Joao Felix was going to be added to it. No, there's no Joao Felix, going to be added to the deal. And so he stays where he is. Then Callum Hudson-Odoi is going to stay at Chelsea. Confirmed now. There was no need. It looked like Dortmund were just getting in at the start of the day and very much to the end of it. But it's ended now. Callum Hudson-Odoi is staying with Chelsea. Now, Jules Koundé is not joining Chelsea. That deal we have known for a long time has been up, but officially now we've got this because of the way things are moving left, right, center. So it's important to keep it in there. Now, Alex Renarson has left Arsenal to join O11. I think, Gary, you made the point with an option to buy there. So Arsenal are doing their best to try and get the people in there. And did you know Real Madrid stepped this all up there? Gary, you made the point, 200 million euros there to see if they could get Kylian Mbappe, but it all landed out there. And we know that is Camavinga, who Real Madrid have gone for. So these are the completed deals just in the last minutes right now as we get to the end of the transfer window. This one, and I think it's been really, really good. Can I say this? Cristiano Ronaldo to Manchester United. We had made the point, yes, it was going in there. And Gary, there are more indications that Manchester United will push that number 7 jersey for Cristiano Ronaldo. From what we're getting, look, it's ongoing.
If anybody knows Cristiano Ronaldo, his people will push as much as they can to get Man United, because for branding reasons, they need that man to have that number 7 jersey. They need it. So they are going to put every bizarre reason in the book and give the Premier League every single reason to give Cristiano Ronaldo that number 7 jersey. And we are here for it.
As we get ready, just about 3 minutes left to the end of the transfer window, I just want us to focus a bit on Sergio Ray. He's of African interest. And Gary, you've been following African football for the longest times. This is a difficult question, but we've always questioned players and their loyalty and when they decide to leave clubs. But we are seeing the exact opposite here. A player who wanted to stay, was loyal to the team, even played for the team when his brother was shot in France. And now the team said they don't want him again. He's been abused by fans, and eventually he's terminated his contract. It's really a thin line, isn't it?
Loyalty in football is a very tricky topic, but it's also a very simple topic. Because the loyalty in football increasingly, and as we've always known, always boils down to the money. It's as simple as that. Football is loyal to the money. You saw the report, Rico. I saw you tweeting yesterday about the amounts of transfer.
So yeah, just a bit of a technical hitch, but we'll try and get back to Gary. I think he was making an interesting point.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Gary.
Okay, all right. I think I was opening another window on the laptop. That's why I was saying that you saw the FIFA report.
Yeah.
Yesterday about the transfer of players and all that, and how much agents have even taken in fees since the year 2010. It was like 85 billion or 85 million or 105. I mean, some obscene amounts. Take for example Jorge Mendes, who, what's his name? Haaland's agent.
Mino Raiola.
Who said, yes, Mino Raiola, who says that he wanted 20 million for Haaland's father before he could transfer. I mean, some of these things. So it's the name of the game. Somebody needs to lubricate the system. In my economics class in Gimpa, my economics lecturer used to say that corruption must be legalized in order for the economy to benefit. That's why when you go to the Accra Visa Center, you have a place where you pay 150 cedis for the normal, and then you pay 150 cedis plus 85 cedis for the VIP, so that you don't have to pay a bribe to anybody. It's legalized corruption. You see?
Yeah.
So coming back to the Sergio Aurier thing, if his time is up and his value is not to Spurs what they think it should be.
Yeah.
He's simply not going to play. I see we have 44 seconds, and so I'm going to cut it short as we count down the clock to end and shut down the transfer window for 2021 summer.
So yeah, it's just about 30 seconds left, George. And as we count down, just a reminder that teams who are still processing their transfers could submit due sheets to their various associations to be able to extend their transfer period for about an hour or so. So for Chelsea, for instance, who are working on Saul Niguez's deal, they could submit a due sheet and that would see them delay it a bit. So it's 10 seconds more, 5 seconds more. Can your team get the player that they want in the final seconds? And bang, TikTok time is up. And so the transfer window, that's the summer 2021, has officially closed in England. And we'll be bringing you an update on the big transfers that were able to take place, the ones that are still being able to take place and being worked on by teams, and what the situation is for clubs who might not be able to sign their players again. George, do you have any latest news for us in terms of those who've been able to see deals over the line?
Oh, hold on. Quick, I mean, everybody needs to take a deep breath. And I have some grapes here. If you feel like...
Thank you.
Around the table,
Well, I had to say, Riku, that in the last few seconds it was going to be difficult for deals to go to, but you made the point that once you have put your papers through, there's a little window of extension, and so which you expect that the few deals that were not quite done, or in terms of running down the clock, we'll still come back to it. So we'll give ourselves some extra 10 minutes maybe, and then we'll get the full list of it. But just as I went through what has been confirmed, we know that Sergio Rey has left Tottenham Hotspur. He's not a part of them anymore. We also know that Tomiyasu has joined Arsenal now on a permanent deal, and we know that's from Bologna for 18 million euros. That has been completed as well. Then I was talking about Odsonne Edouard from Celtic to Crystal Palace. That confirmed. Hector Bellerin has left Arsenal and has joined Real Betis. Saul Niguez, we know, will officially join Chelsea, but we're waiting for the confirmation that should come because of the kind of work that had gone in before the end of the transfer window. We know Antoine Griezmann is now back with Atletico Madrid from Barcelona. Joao Felix was not part of that deal. Callum Hudson-Odoi of Chelsea will stay at the club and play football this season with Thomas Tuchel. And it's not going to be Jules Koundé for Chelsea who tried to look at it. And Chelsea have been very lucky in there, because we're quick in, sending Kurt Zuma. And the good thing is that Chalobah that stayed in there. That's making the Chelsea defensive situation, look good there. Other things that we confirmed for you as well. Alex Renassin left Arsenal to join OH Leuven. That's a very, very important one there again. And we know the Real Madrid, despite having 200 million plus euros, were not able to get Kylian Mbappe. Kylian Mbappe stays with Paris Saint-Germain. What's important then for them is that they would like to pick him for free. Real Madrid waiting for Wenger. That is important for them. So quickly, just to touch it, and what we have seen, it's been an interesting one. And Manchester United will try to sort out what they've got in terms of the numbers. Gary, anything there to top up for us?
Well, let's go outside England and see what has been confirmed across the rest of Europe. In past transfer windows, we've been accused at the JoySports team of over-concentrating on the Ghanaian and also the Premier League as well. So let's go to Europe. Moise Kean, Everton to Juventus loan confirmed. Hector Bellerin, as has been said previously by George, Arsenal to Real Betis on loan. Andre Frank Zambo Anguissa, very, very good player, from Fulham to Napoli on loan. And this is a very, very good deal. I don't know who scouted it. Zambo Anguissa, for those who watch the AFCON quite keenly, is a mainstay for Cameroon. But in the shambolic season that Fulham had, he was one of the standout players. And so he's gone. Reece Nelson, Arsenal to Feyenoord, gone. Dennis Praet, Leicester to Torino in Italy, loan, also done. Ethan Ampadu, of course, his mother is Welsh, his father is English. His mother is Welsh, and his father is Ghanaian. He's moved from Chelsea on loan to Venezia, and he has actually extended his deal at Chelsea to be able to get this done. Just like Baba Rahman has been able to do with Chelsea in order to sign for Reading. Jack Hendry from KV Ostende to Club Brugge, 8.6 million euros, done. Niels Nkunku, Everton to Standard Liège on loan, done. Frederic Guibert, Aston Villa to Strasbourg, loan, done. Patrick Roberts, Manchester City to Troyes, also done as well. Other smattering signings that will pique the interest. Ozan Kabach is gone from Schalke to Norwich on loan. That is one interesting one we should be looking at. Miguel Aziz has left Arsenal to Portsmouth on loan. And we also have Marcel Sabitzer. Bayern Munich are being accused once again for the umpteenth time of raiding their competitors in the German Bundesliga. Marcel Sabitzer, who we have had commentary on many times in the Champions League, incredible player in the middle of the park and so on, has been moved from IB Leipzig to Bayern for an undisclosed fee. Timoe Bakayoko from Chelsea to AC Milan on loan, done as well. He Chang Hwan has moved from RB Leipzig to Wolves with on a loan deal with an option to buy for 13 million. Maxwell Cornet, the African player, we love when Africans move. The Ivorian has moved from Lyon to Burnley for an undisclosed fee as well. So yeah, these are some of the interesting ones. Kurt Zuma, Chelsea to West Ham, 29.8 million, done. Wesley from Aston Villa to Club Brugge on loan, done. Musa Sissoko, Tottenham to Watford, £3 million, done. Pape Mata Sarr, Mets to Tottenham, undisclosed. This is a great transfer for the goalkeeper. Great goalkeeper, and he's got a lot going for him as well. Baba Rahman has spoken, Chelsea to Reading on loan, and Matty Longstaff, for those who like fantasy football, Matty Longstaff has moved from Newcastle to Aberdeen on loan, and that one is also done as well. So yeah, guys, Aaron Lennon, when was the last time we heard his name?
He's still playing?
Exactly.
Yeah, say you play. Aaron Lennon
Good
to see him in that Spurs jersey those times.
He's gone to Burnley on a free. He was unattached. That's why you have not heard from him in a while. Right, he was unattached and was not playing, but Burnley has taken him. A shrewd piece of business, I think this one is. One of Chelsea's billion players on loan is Ike Ugbo, a Nigerian. He's moved to Genk, and it's an exciting transfer for Genk, and it's an undisclosed fee. Another one of the Nigerian-British quartet or contingent who used to play for Arsenal, Chuba Akpom. You remember him?
Yeah.
He's moved from Middlesbrough to PAOK in Greece on loan as well. In Europe, Lucas Torreira, Arsenal to Fiorentina on loan, also done. And we could go on and on and on. Xherdan Shaqiri, Liverpool to Lyon, undisclosed fee, also done. That's also an exciting one to watch. And Martin Odegaard, Real Madrid to Arsenal, undisclosed. Aaron Ramsdale, Bournemouth to Arsenal, £30 million, including add-ons, also done. Gary Cahill, Crystal Palace to Bournemouth on a free. Gary Cahill, Crystal Palace to Bournemouth on a free. And guess what? There's someone with a very Ghanaian name here. Ura Edwards, not Oreku Ampofo. Ura Edwards, Bristol City to Exeter City on loan, also done as well. So yeah, in just about 5 minutes, I've given a wrap of some of the interesting names that people will know that have moved in the last few days.
If there's one thing that we picked from, the whole list that Gary and George did say, that's the fact that teams have found a way to be very creative because of the financial restrictions placed, due to COVID-19 not being around and teams not making usual revenue levels. But we have a big question for you if you're following the show at home. Remember, it's the transfer countdown here on the Joy News channel, where we eased you into what has been an incredible summer transfer window. Our question to you now is that which team across Europe do you think had the best transfer window in terms of player sales and player buys? I'll be getting answers from Gary and George quite shortly. But remember, for your answer to be read here on the Joy News channel, you have to use the hashtag right at the bottom of your screen. That's hashtag JoyDeadlineDay. Share with us which team you think had the best transfer window and which team you think had the worst transfer window. I think I have a clue as to who had the worst transfer window, but let me start with you, Gary. Who was your best and who was your worst across Europe?
My best transfer window across Europe.
Yeah.
Ish, that's a big one. It's hard to look beyond PSG and Chelsea in my top two. Man United, maybe top four. But PSG definitely, I think they've had a solid window. Chelsea, Chale, no, Chelsea looks solid. I mean, Marina, what's her name? Marina Granovskaya, right?
Granovskaya, yeah.
Yeah, she be solid woman, man. She needs to teach my club Arsenal how to do it, how to get it done, you know. But yeah, Oreku, I think PSG, Chelsea, and Manchester United. I know a lot of Man United fans will not agree with me because they've not got a CDM, a central defensive midfielder. But I think that all things considered, they've had quite a good window. George, I don't know who you think has got a solid window.
Straight up Chelsea. I mean, Chelsea shipped out up to 20 players. And people made a lot of noise about how much Chelsea bought Romelu Lukaku for, but they've managed to offset everything. And you could see the Granovskaya bit coming in with this Saul Miguel's move, and 4 million there, for loan and an option to buy permanently later. So I go for Chelsea. I agree. When it comes to marquee signings, obviously, Manchester United with Ronaldo and PSG with Messi. Big enough. Perhaps PSG wins it when it comes with the marquee signings. But when it comes to the actual business on paper, give it to Chelsea.
But Oreku, maybe Ren, if you go outside, they bought very, very well, eh?
Yeah.
Good bagging. They will even make top 4 in France.
Possibly, and even for future sales as well. They've bought some really good talent.
In 2 years or 3 years' time, they'll be selling players for 60, 70, 80 million pounds and things.
Yes. Yeah. And that is the strength of the team. And I think for most shrewd guys who are going into the transfer market, they are looking at how and hope fans understand it. How much do I buy this player, and how much can I make off this player in the next 4 or 3 years? That's always what's important. So the ages, and that's why I like what Granovskaya is doing, because you look at the age. You buy Kai for this amount, you know that in the next 4 years his value is going up like 4 or 5 times. And that's the way you keep on balancing the books. Something that Barcelona haven't done quite well in the last 5 years.
And I don't know whether that was a bit of a shade from George, but let me just.
Arsenal, no. Arsenal, no. Let's continue.
Well,
see, Arsenal, the Arsenal issue is a serious matter. Yes, Arsenal. No.
I was contemplating which team would be my worst in terms of transfer, and I thought it would be a bit unfair for Arsenal because if you look up there in terms of the spending list, they spent over 100 million and arguably are amongst the top teams to actually blow real cash this transfer window.
On what?
So on paper,
they are blowing on what?
I think that's where the question comes in. Gary, do you understand the philosophy that Arteta and Edu were trying to do here? Focusing really on the goalkeeper, 2 defenders, when really where you should be focusing on is who can create from the middle of the park and from the wings. Now, Arsenal called for players such as Buendia, Aoa, and a host of players who had the skill to create chances. And at the beginning of the transfer window, it looked as if there wasn't enough money. But getting to the end, I think they've shown that there was money.
I don't think money has ever been an Arsenal problem for years, and I think we know that. So the one time that the club decided to splurge, remember, Arsenal didn't just need or doesn't just need signings. The club is in as much of a technical hole as much as it is in a psychological hole. So the club right now needs statement signings. Statement signings that will galvanize the base. So it wasn't a question of cherry picking and getting, this player and adding them and getting $221 million in total. No, that's not what the club needed. You see, Chelsea went and got Romelu Lukaku, £97 million. It galvanizes the whole base. They got a player on loan in Saul Niguez. Look at what it's done. Because he fulfills a particular need. He fits a particular profile and he communicates something to the fans. I cannot name any of the Arsenal signings that have been brought in this window who fulfills any of these 3 criteria. If any of you know it, I'm all ears. So that's the thing. Psychologically, Arsenal fans needed to see somebody being signed that will be able to let them also have something to say when it comes to the banter at the chop bar at the beer bar, on Twitter, on Facebook, or even if their brother is a Manchester United fan, and they are going to open they are going to open their fantasy. This is what transfers do now in 2021. It's not just about the club signing. It's about what it does to the club base. And George, you've been to the stadia at least in the last few weeks. You've been to both Chelsea and Arsenal. You know, both of us have been there.
Yeah.
The vibe, and I want to underline, bold, and increase the font size to 100. The vibe in both camps. Now, Chelsea fans have a certain arrogance about them that only Manchester United and Liverpool used to have previously. The swagger that Chelsea fans used to walk into stadia now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With heads held up high, shoulders up high, and chest out, while Arsenal fans cower. I said, Doc, no 2 CD, no. What did I say? Yeah. So that is the psychological base. We understand right now that Arsenal and George, you know, from those we have spoken to in the last couple of weeks. Very cool.
Yeah.
What George and I have been told is that some of the players who we are told are injured in Arsenal are actually not injured. They can play.
Wow.
They can play. But they see no need to come and join this losing team. And so if they are injured and the medical diagnosis said, oh, you are injured between 4 to 6 weeks, then they'll tell the doctor that, you know, after 4 weeks, you are itching to come back.
Yeah.
And they'll tell the doctor, oh, I'm not well. Then it will extend to 6 weeks.
Yeah.
That is what is happening in Arsenal. And we've seen it previously when Liverpool were in their doldrums.
Yeah.
When the big teams were there, we've seen it before. When players don't even want to associate with the club. And that is what is happening. Look at what happened with Maitland-Niles.
Yeah, it's bad. Yeah.
You know, so that's the situation with Arsenal. And we can just hope that the owners of the club will see that their investments are not doing much for them and do what they've got to do.
Well,
yeah, I think that Edu, like Rick was saying, like you, and I have to be very careful about it. I don't think I am better than Edu. I'm only judging Edu based on his work, you know, because I'm looking at the kinds of buys, the kinds of players Arsenal have gone for, and you cannot see a plan. You cannot see through. Yeah, I know we can come and talk about the Arteta technical bits and everything, but the question is, you cannot see through. Look at what Chelsea tried to do with Callum Hudson-Odoi, whether they tried to give a loan. They were trying to create a relationship with Dortmund that they can pick on again in the next transfer window and say, okay, it's Haaland available. But you don't see that. If you wanted a I didn't get a I went for Thomas Partey. What happens the next season? You don't see the continuity. You don't see that a club is looking for this and a club wants to fix this or that. The players are just coming in. And I don't want to hurt any Arsenal fan because if I go back to Willian and stuff, you'll be very, very angry. But there have been so many wasted transfers for Arsenal and they're paid so much.
All right, so that's not the end of the discussion. The transfer window has ended, but it's just the beginning of our discussion. Remember, we're heading straight to 11 p.m. on the Joy News channels. There's the transfer countdown show put together by the JoySports team. And I told you to go on Twitter and share your opinion on some of the subjects that we've been talking about. And let me just go on Twitter and get some updates on what you've been tweeting from home or whether at the office or wherever you find yourself. This one comes from Cahill Jr. He looks like a Chelsea fan, and he says, if Chelsea hand in a deal sheet at 11 p.m. to the Premier League and not an announcement, we are in trouble if the reports are true. We'll be clarifying that Saul deal for you quite shortly. And then Vitas, that's Godwin Atiso, he says that breaking news, Arsenal have just signed Fabio Gama from Asante Kotoko on the loan deal. Wow, we would confirm to see if that was true indeed. But Kudolo, Stephen also says that, is it true that Barcelona signed Jordan Ayew? Hashtag Joy Deadline Day. That we can confirm for you did not happen. And Prince Bawizi, he says that this is the craziest transfer window ever. The shocking returns back home, that's Ronaldo and Lukaku. Breaking loyalty, that is Lionel Messi and Saul Niguez. The stubbornness of some teams, Dortmund, Sevilla, and Paris Saint-Germain, and also not too much money involved. Sir Madiba Mandela says that, but seriously, this has been a very serious and busy transfer. Players we thought would never leave their clubs, Ramos and Messi, and some of the returning players as well. He says that this has been good. And then Madiba also comes to add that Manchester United had a very good transfer, but they still need to sign a DM. Mark Fred will probably do a good work, but it's a work for just one person. So he thinks two people are occupying one person's slot. And also, that's a good time to also ask you this question. If you're a Manchester United fan at home, do you think even without a DM, you still stand a chance of winning the English Premier League? You can tweet at us at Joy Deadline Day, and we'll try and read some of your comments. Let me just pick this one before we go on a quick break. And this is from So Fresh, and his name is actually Mr. Passion. And he says that Florentino Perez needs to be studied in football business. Real Madrid would be getting Kylian Mbappe for free next summer. He's just playing mind games with Paris Saint-Germain. So he doesn't believe that any bids were actually put in there for Kylian Mbappe. And just a reminder that the transfer window in Europe, or England specifically, has shut down, and there will be no more deals unless teams submitted a due sheet where they do get just about an hour extension to complete the paperwork here. The JoySports team have been counting down with you and doing the discussion. And after the break, we delve more into some of the deals, and then we come back home to Africa and Ghana and bring you the latest in terms of transfers. Welcome back to the Transfer Countdown Show here on the Joy News channel. And officially, the transfer window has closed in England and across some selected countries in Europe as well. But news reaching us is that Saul Niguez's camp have confirmed that his deal to Chelsea was completed and done in time before the deadline. So we should expect an official announcement soon for FC Barcelona. Griezmann's departure to Atletico Madrid via loan is still being worked on, and La Liga have given Barcelona an extra 20 minutes to be able to finalize the paperwork. So we'll be getting you the latest on that. But we focused a lot on European transfers. It's now time to come home, and we start off by looking at some of the biggest transfers that have happened in Africa this summer.
Signed South African Percy Tau from Brighton and Hove Albion on a 3-year deal with an option to extend. The Bafana star ended his unfulfilling stay in English football by signing for the Cairo Giants. He has moved to a massive club, will have the opportunity of representing Africa's biggest team, and will also be reunited with former mentor Pitso Mosimane. Al Ahly also announced the signing of Samoa's all-time top scorer Hussam Hassan. Al Ahly's arch-rivals Zamalek tried on several occasions to sign the Egyptian, but the Reds snatched the player from them as they wanted to reinforce their striking department. Hussam Hassan is Samoa's all-time top scorer with 49 goals in 154 games, netting 9 in 15 games last season, before joining Libyan club Al Ahly Tripoli on a 6-month loan, in which he guided them to a second-place finish. Al Ahly also completed the signing of Mozambique international and Simba star Louis Makison. The Red Devils reportedly paid $900,000 for the forward, around half of which to be paid upfront, and the rest will be paid in installments. Tunisian giant Esperance were also very active in the transfer market as they secured Nigerian Anayo Iwuala from Eyimba for $500,000. Anayo was pivotal for Eyimba as they finished third in the 2020-2021 MPFL season. The winger, who has made 4 appearances for the Super Eagles, including captaining the home-based team against Mexico in June, was also on the radar of clubs in Europe. Algeria winger Abderrahmane Meziane joined Esperance from UAE giant Al Ain in a deal worth a reported $1.5 million. Meziane signed a 3.5-year contract and arrives as a direct replacement for Tunisia star Enis Badri, who joined Al Ittihad. Midfielder Sadio Kanouté signed for Simba from Al Ahly Benghazi of Libya on a 3-year deal. Kanouté has played more than 20 matches for the Mali national team. The midfielder, with great ability to attack, deliver the final passes and score, joined the squad in Morocco for their preparations ahead of the new season. Simba SC also completed the signing of Senegalese midfielder Pape Osman Sakou on a 3-year deal. Last season, Papi was named Senegal's Premier League Player of the Year. Pavol Safranco joined South African giant Mamelodi Sundowns from Sepsi OSK in a deal worth a reported €700,000 and brings the experience of being capped with the Slovakia national team. The 26-year-old signed a 5-year contract with the club. Tanzania Premier League powerhouse Young Africans announced the capture of Malian goalkeeper Djigui Diarra without disclosing the duration of the contract. Neither did they reveal the transfer fee. Diarra finally left Stade Malien, where he had been playing since 2011. 9-time Zambian Super League champions Zesco United completed the signing of South Sudan national team captain Peter Maka Mayan from Manuki FC. The 27-year-old Tarin defender, who stands at a height of 1.98 meters, joined Zesco United on a 2-year deal. He had also previously played at Al Ghazal Sports Club in South Sudan between 2015 and 2018 and Amrat United in 2019. Peter Maka Mayan has captained the South Sudan national team on 12 occasions and is yet to score a goal for his national team. After 3 years with Tanzanian giant Simba, Zambian national midfielder Cletus Chota Chama joined Moroccan club RS Berkane. He will play at the Municipal Stadium of Berkane until August 2024 and will wear the number 17 shirt. Last season, Cletus scored 8 goals and provided 15 assists for the Tanzanian club. Younger winger Tusila Kisinda also joined RS Berkane for $150,000. The 25-year-old left Yanga less than a year after arriving in Tanzania. JS Kabili signed defender Yakuba Doumbia from Stade Malien. Doumbia made his professional debut with the Mali national team in a 1-0 2020 African Nations Championship win over Burkina Faso on 16 January 2021. TP Mazembe also had their say in the transfer market with the signing of Ernest Luzolo Sita from Veta Club. The defender, capable of evolving as a winger, signed a 5-year contract. Versatile Salahideen Benyachu also joined Wydad AC from Olympique de Safi. He is expected to add some bite to the attack of Wydad Athletic.
Well, that was it in terms of the African deals done so far. And Al Ahly and Egypt have been quite busy in the market. But let's now come to Ghana. And before we come to the Ghana Premier League, let's focus on some of these Black Stars players who would be in action against Ethiopia. We know that our captain Andre Ayew was involved in a move to Al Sadd. That's the country that a club that his dad also did play as well in Qatar. But which other transfers did Ghanaian players make abroad? Ghana captain Andre Ayew joined Qatari top flight side Al Sadd on a free transfer. The 31-year-old signed a 2-year contract with an option for an additional year. Al Sadd will be the 7th club of Ayew's illustrious career, which has seen him play in France, England and Turkey. Ghana winger Christian Atsu signed for Al Raid in Saudi Arabia. The 29-year-old joins the Pro League side on a 2-year deal, having cut ties with English-fold Newcastle United following the expiration of his contract. It is his first club outside Europe since beginning his professional career with Portuguese outfit Porto. Ghana's representation in Saudi Arabia increased this season as a free Aqua also joins Atsu. Aqua signed for Saudi Arabian Pro League side Al Batin FC. The 29-year-old midfielder spent his last 2 seasons in Turkey. There is a fresh injection of Ghanaian talent into the French Liga this summer. Ghanaian winger Kamaldeen Sulemana moved to Stade Rennes on a 5-year deal. Rennes saw competition from Ajax, Manchester United, Nice and a host of other European clubs. Sulemana, who is a graduate of the Right to Dream Academy, spent the last 2 seasons at Nordjylland, where he scored 14 goals in 42 league appearances. Gideon Mensah also completed a move to French Liga side Bordeaux after signing a season-long loan with an option to make the deal permanent. The former Wafa defender spent last season on loan in Portugal with Vitória Guimarães, where he excelled playing 22 games in the Primeira Liga. Nantes announced the signing of Ghanaian winger Osman Boukari from Belgian outfit KAA Ghent on a season-long loan deal. Le Canary will not have a permanent option on the forward, who made his international debut for the Black Stars in March. Boukari will take the number 26 shirt and comes off a season in Belgium in which he scored 4 times and made 6 assists. Winger Kamal Sowa departed Leicester City to join Belgian team Club Brugge. The 21-year-old joins the Blue Black on a 4-year contract, marking a return to the Belgium top flight. He joined Leicester City in 2018 and has spent the last 2.5 seasons on loan at Belgian side OH Leuven. At Leuven, Soa made a total of 72 appearances in all competitions, netting 13 times and helping the outfit secure promotion to the Belgian elite division. Italian Serie A side Genoa would be the new home of Ghanaian striker Kalebe Kuban. Genoa signed a 27-year-old from Turkish side Trabzonspor for a reported 1.8 million euros. Kuban signed a 3-year contract, and the former lead striker from Ghana returns to Italy, where he started his career at Mantova. Peterborough United signed winger Kwame Poku for a substantial 6-figure fee. The Ghanaian international, who is 19, agreed a 4-year contract and became the club's 7th summer recruit. Poku played 75 games in 2 seasons with Colchester, scoring 6 goals. Reading's long search for a new left-back is over, with the signing of Babaraman. The 27-year-old defender has joined on a season-long loan deal from Chelsea ahead of his contract with the Premier League side, which expires next summer. Formerly of Augsburg, the Ghanaian international has spent the last 6 years at Stamford Bridge. Although he never became a key first-team member for Chelsea over an extended period, he's had loan spells at a decent level with Schalke, Reims, Mallorca and POAK. It was a very, very busy transfer for various Ghanaian players, and it is one that does bring some joy to Ghanaian fans as well. You know, seeing players move from teams where they were not too appreciated or they were not getting enough time to teams where we expect them to be racking up minutes, especially ahead of the World Cup qualifiers and the 2021 Africa Cup of Nations. But let me bring back George and Gary. You had the report which detailed 10 of the biggest transfers by Ghanaian players. George, let me start with you. Which one stands out for you, and who are you most happiest for? Who did you really enjoy his move?
Well, Kamaldeen's move was a big one. I think he had shown a lot back, and we were hoping that he was going to get a big platform. Indeed, he was tempted by a number of clubs, but I'm excited because he chose a club that gives him the platform, that will give him the time to play and obviously show us what he's got. And there's no doubt that he would move on from, Rennes to another big club. And that's the great thing for me, that we're going to see him. He has already started tearing things apart. It's great. I'm also happy to see, Kamal Soa. And sometimes when you have a personal touch with the players, you can understand the kind of fire that's burning, and it gives you a dimension into what the player is thinking through and all. So I'm happy to see him. Yeah, he's also another man who is very hungry to play, and he gets up from Leicester City, and after all the work that he did, now with Club Brugge, and it's going to be a special one. Look, all the deals, actually about 60% of the deals, for me, I'm excited about them, even though I've selected these as my top 2, because you'd see that it gives the players the opportunity to show what they've got, especially with the young ones. And that's why I'm very, very happy about the fact that they have more playing time and they can prove the points that their potential has sought to tell us all this while. I'm excited about these 2.
You focused a lot on the Andrea Ayew move. Divided some, amount of opinion, especially in the Ghanaian football fraternity, because we had seen Andrea Ayew's father share some particular comment about Samoa Gyan when he moved to a similar region, that he was moving there for money. And then this time around, we see Andrea Ayew moving to the same region, to a club that he played for. And some people were questioning whether it's the right move for, a captain of the Black Stars chasing an AFCON trophy.
Okay, Oreko, let me try and put this in. I thought it was a Gary question, but let me try and you know what? First thing is that before you even try to do any comparison, you'd have to pay attention to the time or the moment in which the move was made. I'm doing this analysis before I tell you what I think about it, because in the Samoa Gyan situation, there was a heavy feeling that better Premier League clubs are going to come for him. And that's why a lot of the fans said, stay there, because he had just 1 season with Sunderland, and clearly he was on the high. And so the probability that the bigger club was going to come for him, and the fact that he was going to do even better in the Premier League with what we had seen him do for Sunderland, was so high. That is why it appears that there's Samoa Gyan moving from English Premier League hurt a lot of people. That's one. So I was saying that Andre Ayew's moved to Al Sadd. You have to check it. He played in the English Premier League for Swansea, for West Ham. You know, he went out, he came back. He stayed in the Championship, played for Swansea. The feeling that Dede Ayew had done all that he could do in England was really, really high. And the fact that another big team was going to come for him was very, very low. And you look at the age, the time he's got, it made sense that he steps out and gets a place to play as a footballer. But obviously, think about what's going to happen. This is what I think about players moving. Allow the players to go where they want to go to and make the money that they want to. But the players must also understand that when they're done, we'll come back to it. When I compare the two, Dede Ayew stayed in the Premier League, in the English Premier League, for as long as he could until it felt like he couldn't move out. Asamoah Gyan stepped out when we felt there was a lot more he could offer to the Premier League.
So, Oreku, coming back to, the question you asked me about Andre Ayew, I would answer you like this. Should we not be worried that increasingly what was the core of the Black Stars are moving to the Gulf? You mentioned the Free Aqua in that report.
Yeah.
You mentioned Christian Achu in that report.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in the last few seconds, somebody who many of us thought should be a shoe-in to the AFCON squad, especially you, Oreku, you've also mentioned because of his statistics in the last 12 months to 16 months, has moved to Saudi Arabia. John Boy has just moved.
And he actually had the opportunity to still stay in France for a year where he was captain.
He had the opportunity to stay in France and he was playing very well.
And he's joining Samoa Owusu, actually, yeah.
The best 3 seasons of his life.
Yeah.
And John Boy has moved to Saudi Arabia's top division club, Al Fayha. Yeah. And they've sealed the deal today. It's a 1-year contract with an option to extend after passing his medical. John Boy is 34 years. And you can clearly see what is going through his head here. Yes, he's having a good time. He's playing well at Mets. He's getting the minutes. But it's time to start cashing in. He became a free agent after leaving Mets on the 30th of June after 3 successful seasons. And he was captain of Mets, went ahead to make 35 appearances. His resume includes playing for Stade Rennes, Kayseri, Sivasspor, 68 caps for Ghana. It's now time for him to cash out. And going into the AFCON, how worried are we now? We have a qualifier on Friday. We are not getting Benson Annan at right back. Our left back option to one of them is injured or not available or whatever it is. And so we are going to play Fatau Mohamed. And we are going to play another Ghana Premier League player. We are going to the AFCON in Cameroon next year, and we don't have our first options for whatever reason. COVID, illness, injury. Are these the backups that we are going to have?
Yeah.
The Andre, look, for the same reason that George gave, I said that. Remember, I said on Twitter that I wish him all the best, but it's a very interesting move, considering that you want our best players to play in the best leagues to compete at the AFCON, which is it's a 24 team tournament now.
Yeah,
players are coming from more and more, whatever. Is this what we are going to use to parade? That's the question. That's the question for me.
Well, that's a big question, and we'll probably have more time to address that before the Friday qualifier against Ethiopia, which kicks off at 7 p.m. And we'll be building up to that one. That's the JoySports team. But we have to take a quick break. I remember this is the Transfer Countdown Show on Joy News, powered by the JoySports team. And when we come back, it's time for the interesting part. How do the new signings fit in their new teams? You're still live here on the Joy News channel on the Transfer Countdown Show, brought to you by the JoySports team. And the transfer window has officially closed, but some deals are still being completed because they did have a little bit of a special dispensation by the FA, because due sheets were submitted And as you can see, fear not, Chelsea fans, Saul Niguez is officially a Blue, at least for this season. So that was Chelsea announcing Saul Niguez there on loan, and Barcelona still have some small time left to be able to complete that Griezmann and then Luke de Jong deal as they continue their pursuit for a striker. But it's now time to look at how teams would look heading into the new season, and this is the main man that the focus would be, and that's Saul Niguez there, as you can see. But in terms of how the team would shape up, we know that Tuchel has been using a back three all season, and that's not going to change. But it depends on who he's facing and whether he wants to deploy the 3-4-3 or the 3-5-2 formation. In case he goes with a 3-5-2, trying to put in all the new signings, this is how things would look. Saul could slot in that midfield row, and Havertz and Lukaku, or Mount or Lukaku, could be up top there. Lukaku, he settled in pretty well. We'll see how new signing Saul gets in there. Unfortunately, Koundé couldn't join Chelsea. And so Real Madrid, there will be no Kylian Mbappe. That means one more season for Eden Hazard to prove himself with Los Blancos. Gareth Bale, redemption for him. So that means that the front line wouldn't change too much, but we might see Camavinga get more time ahead of either Kroos or Modric. We might be seeing the 4-3-3 formation, which has been used by Ancelotti, and he looks like the only signing for Real Madrid this season. So in terms of signings, this is how they would look like. Let's go to FC Barcelona, where things could change. Things could change. We know that Griezmann is gone, but if Luke de Jong joins from Sevilla on loan, he could be replacing Braithwaite in that lineup, and that's how the midfield would be looking like. Eric Garcia, he also joined from Man City as well. Memphis Depay, he started well, 3-goal involvement so far for FC Barcelona in La Liga. Manchester United, Cristiano Ronaldo is expected to lead the line alongside Rashford and Sancho. What does that mean for Mason Greenwood? Well, we'll see how Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants to deploy him. But in order to play all his best players, Paul Pogba and Bruno Fernandes have to start together. And that means that there would only be one room left for either Fred or McTominay. And that has been the biggest concern for Manchester United fans. Varane also slots in easily in terms of the starting 11. Now, this really is a super team, isn't it? On paper, no one should come close to Pochettino's team. And you can see that star-studded front three of Lionel Messi, Neymar, and Mbappe. And because Real Madrid couldn't sign the French forward, we would be blessed enough to see this front three at least for a season. And you can look, that's Nuno Mendes. He was signed from Sporting Lisbon, a very enterprising left back. He can also play as a left wing back. And then Jorginho Wijnaldum from Liverpool, and Hakimi. He's also a new signing as well. Back three with a new signing, Sergio Ramos. And then Donnarumma enjoyed a really good time at Italy in the summer during the Euros. For Bayern Munich, a lot doesn't really change. And we are just seeing Marcel Sabitzer joining in from Leipzig. And he's expected to play a role. Remember, he's a versatile player, can play as a striker, can play as a winger, and can also play in a double pivot or as a central attacking midfielder as well. Inter Milan, a lot of things have changed. They lost Lukaku, lost Hakimi, but they've brought in Damian permanently. Remember that from last season. Kahanoglu, he also joins from rivals AC Milan. He's expected to play a role in the middle of the pack. Dzeko and Lautaro have started the first two games. Dzeko replaced Lukaku, and then they've also brought in Correa from Lazio, and he's been coming in from the bench in their recent game as well, where he got a brace to ensure that Inter Milan starts the Serie A season with a perfect run. But let me come to you, George and Gary, right before we wrap up the show. We've seen some of the lineups so far. Who looks the scariest to you, George?
Wow. And I have a serious band watching. So you know what? I think that the Chelsea team is strong. The Chelsea team looks like an all-round team. There are few issues with defense in terms of backup. But if you look at the midfield for Chelsea and you look at the attack for Chelsea, there are so many options. And having a coach in Thomas Tuchel who can toy with a lot of formations, that should be a formidable side. And the fact that Chelsea went to Anfield and played 10 men against 11 and still were able to hold their own and having to put up a defensive display tells you about the all-round solidity that Chelsea has got. But when you look at the other teams, they have got players that can hit you. And football is about 90 minutes. But I think the strongest team for me, still the European champions.
Gary, do you share the same sentiment?
I mean, from the fact that I said PSG and Chelsea have had the strongest window, it has to follow that I think that they have the scariest, lineups. Because I mean, if they had the best transfer windows, then it means that, in my opinion, they strengthened the best across Europe. In my opinion, I mean, I look at PSG. I look at the fact that, like, Liverpool was a couple of seasons ago. You remember at the time when Liverpool was about, look, if you score me 3, I'll score you 5. PSG have become that now. They are just going to outscore you. But seriously, they have quite a decent defense, far more than a decent defense. In Idrissa Gana Gueye, they have a solid, middle there who can look past Marco Verratti. Of course, he's going to give you 1 yellow card every game, but still, they look quite a balanced side if you look at the bench they have. And then you come to Chelsea for the same reasons George has enumerated. I think that they are quite a solid side also in terms of how scary they look. In Italy, I think we should spare a thought for Jose Mourinho's Roma. Yeah, they look like a team that are enjoying themselves. Tutto bene.
Yeah.
And Mourinho was enjoying some pizza as well. Hopefully we'll grab some pizza when George and Gary come to Ghana as well. But thank you very much, guys, for joining from the UK as well, to be able to maintain that consistency of bringing you transfer countdown each window. This show was powered by the JoySports team, so a special thanks to each member. Thanks to the directors and the producers as well. And to you at home for tuning in. We'll be back again when the winter transfer window ends. But my name is Rick Wampofo, and see you when the window closes again.